This is the Dimension Stamps Project Club for January 2014. There's a lot to do in this one, so we want to get started with the tags. So in the pack you'll find some long thin pieces of card. 3 of these pieces actually make up one A4 piece, so these are 9.9 centimeters wide by 21 centimeters long. We're going to be cutting them in half, so that's at 10.5 centimeters. So that's what we'll start with. So next we need to put a hole in the middle of the 9.9 centimeter side, and for this I'm going to use my Crop-A-Dile. I'm using the biggest hole on the Crop-A-Dile, and I've set my marker to about 1 centimetre. So we need that one to go in the middle. And then next we need to round off the 2 top corners, and for that I'm using my corner chomper. And do this for all 12 little tags. And then we need to use some black ink, and I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. And I'm going to use my Stampin' Stash plates. So first of all, on this one I need to do my January. Now we're only going to stamp half on and half off the tag, so just be mindful that on our craft mat we're going to be having some residue ink, so try not to smudge it on the rest of your tags. So I want half on, half off. And then February. Next we need to cut our strips of ribbon. You should have 3 strips of ribbon. They need to be cut into 4. It doesn't matter what colour you put on, it's entirely up to you. So I need to thread through the front, and then the 2 ends need to go through the loop. That's at the back of the card, and then lightly pull So we need to do that for all 12 of the tags. Next we're moving on to the pockets. So in our pack we should have 4 A5 pieces of white card. There is actually 2 pieces of A5 white paper, and you can tell. So just be mindful that there is a difference in the card and the paper. So these need to be cut at 7 centimetre intervals, and you'll get 3 per sheet, so that will be 12 sides in all. So I've only cut 4 pieces for now, and to make one of the pockets we need some double-sided tape, and we're going to put it along the edge of one of the longest sides, and then at the edge of the 2 shortest sides. So because I've only cut 4, I only need to put tape on 2 of them. Once you've cut all yours out, you should have 6 plain ones and 6 with the double-sided tape on. So all we need to do now is remove the tape, and stick 2 of these pieces together. If you've got any little hanging over pieces at the sides or at the top or bottom, you can easily just trim these off. It won't affect the overall project. So I've got just a little bit hanging over on that side, so I'll just trim that off just to neaten it off. So really stick those sides together. In your pack you'll also find your months of the year, and we need to cut out each of these. So once we've cut all our calendar bits out, we need our 4 pieces of A6 card. These can be any colour, any card. In fact, this kind of project is really good for using all your odd bits and pieces up, especially with it being multicoloured. You can use absolutely any colour you like. So these need to be cut down so they measure 6.5 centimetres times 5 centimetres each. Now we need 12, one for each of our month's pieces of paper. I used 3 of each colour. Next we want to mat and lay each of the months on each piece of card using double-sided tape. And then once you've got all 12 done, we need to then put them into the middle of the pocket. But before you do that, make sure you've got the top of the pocket facing up. Now the best way I've found of keeping those open a little bit is to split them open at the top and then just put your finger in and run your finger through in between the 2 pockets. And when you take your finger out, it gives you a nice little opening, making it a little bit easier. So look at that. Just stretching the card a little bit, giving it that opening. So we need to double-sided tape on the back of these and then attach them to the front of the pockets. So I've attached January to the front. I've only used little bits of tape on mine, but you can be a lot more careful. I'm only doing it for demo purposes. So then if we turn the first one over and attach our February, again making sure the opening is at the top, place it in the middle, then your next pocket, opening at the top, will be March. So now we're going to add the holes to the side. So we want January 1st facing up. We're going to put them in the left hand side. So using my Crop-A-Dile, I'm going to put 2 holes, one in either side. Then I need a pencil, just empty that little chamber there so I can actually see where I'm going to be hole punching next. So line up January, got February, March, your next one should be facing up. So place one pocket on top of the other. Make sure they're lined up nicely. And then using your pencil, draw the circle straight through. So you've got markings there for your next set of holes. So we'll punch those out. If you look through your hole punch, especially using your Crop-A-Dile, you can actually see the circle where you've punched. Let's keep cleaning it out. Next one. See through where the circle is and punch. So we need to do that for all 6 pockets. So back to our pieces left over in our kit, we need the grey board. So we've got 2 pieces and they measure 15 centimetres by 13 centimetres, and we need to write on each of the covers. So if you put both pieces together, we write front on there, but let's also make note of where the top is, just so that when we've stamped our front cover it's easy to lay it on, because this is our shortest side. This one's 13 centimetres and this one's our 15 centimetre. So then we turn it over book style and then we just write on there inside inside, and then I'm going to close it and just write back on the back face. We are actually going to start with the back piece. So I've added my high tack tape. Next I need to cut down the pieces of coloured card and the white card. So we're going to do the two pieces of paper, and they measure 14.8 centimetres anyway, so we need it 17 centimetres long. And I've cut down my coloured card to measure 14.5 centimetres times 12.5 centimetres. So we're going to start off with a piece of white. Save the other one for later. And we need to then take off the red backing on the high tack tape. Now we want to put it centrally onto this piece of white paper. Turn it over, just smooth it down. Now I've already put the red high tack tape on the inside, so what I need to do now is fold over all my white edges, just roughly. When you stick it down later on, it'll just pick up and straighten out. But bending it over like that gives you a decent look on those corners. So next we're going to fold the corners down. So we need to remove a little bit of the high tack tape, and then fold the corner right over on itself, and then just smooth it down with your fingers. And we want to do that on each of the corners. Now if you haven't done so already, you can remove the last of the red backing and then fold over all the white sides. And then you want your bone folder and just press down on those corners just to give them a little bit more pressure on them, make them nice and flat. Now if you feel on the edges you might have some sharp corners, you can actually use your bone folder and just run it on the edges, and that takes that sharpness off. So just check them all. Now we need a piece of our coloured card, and we're going to cover the inside. So again we need some red tape on the back of this. So remove all the red backing, and we're going to centrally add our piece of coloured card. Like so. You could also use your bone folder just to make sure that all those edges have been picked up and stuck down really well. And that's our back cover, inside and back. Now for the front. So now we're going to stamp our front cover. Again we're going to be using all the circle stamps, black memento and a Stamp and Stash plate. So start off, we're going to do them randomly. It's up to you. If you want to put them in some kind of order you can do, but it's entirely up to you. So if we start off anywhere, and all I did is just keep expanding right next to it. Now when it actually gets a little bit fuller, you can use the same stamp more than once. I'll show you what I mean in a second. Start it now. So I'm using this particular stamp twice. Used it over there, so then if I use it over here somewhere, and then again over there. So as it grows, I don't actually need to change my stamps as much as I did before.